How often do you eat fruits? That's not how you do it. How often do you eat grapefruits? Welcome to my channel, Goddess Gaia, where I bring spiritual, yogic, and eco-feminist thought to the forefront of your mind. Today we're joined with my lovely friend Australopithecus here. It's glowing bright purple like me today in the sun. And we're going to be talking about dark energy, light energy, and the food energy pyramid. If you haven't learned this in your biology class, I'm also going to be going over like a review of it. So let's jump right in. I want to start off by saying that light energy creates its own energy, and dark energy has to suck energy to fuel itself. So if you think about like a narcissist, they need to prey on others' energy and use it for themselves, and they use that through manipulative techniques, basically dark energy techniques, right? So we as consumers of our food can't produce our own energy. We have to consume it from other things such as plants or animals. And who makes their own energy? It's plants. Our food energy source is the sun. And sure, you can argue there's geothermal energy, there's nuclear energy, but how do we really use that for food? It's mostly the sun, right? So plants use photosynthesis. They take the photons from the light source and they convert it into usable energy, like glucose molecules, but just think of it as usable energy. So us being needers of energy to fuel our life, to do all of our activities, even breathe, even just do the basic activities, we need energy. We have to take it from somewhere else. I wouldn't eat my pet, or would I? So love creates and fear destroys. Love creates energy, fear destroys energy. In order to decrease our dark energy, or the fear within us, we need to eat as closest to the source of love as possible, which are plants. Because every time we increase on the pyramid, 10% of energy is lost. And if you see on the graph, I'll put it right here, each step there's less and less energy. If a plant starts with 100% energy, 10% of that is 10, and 10% of that is 1, such as if we were to eat a cow that eats a plant.
God, please, no!
If we use our intuition to calibrate the type of energy that we're consuming, whether we face a plate of plants or we face a plate of meat, we will start to realize that plants consent to being eaten. There are so many more plants than there are animals. Do you have this type of intuitive capability? Everyone has intuitive capability, unless you've suppressed it or you're blind or numb to it, which says something about the energy that you already have. Are you eating a lot of meat? Is it all that pain within you that you're trying to suppress? And yes, an animal has to suffer pain in order to die, in order to become our food. Most, if not all, ways of killing an animal for our food will make it suffer. And that suffering type of energy is what's left in its meat, in its physical components, in its mother goddess given body, and then we're consuming that suffering. Things like kosher and halal try to eliminate this, but the meat industry is just horrendous. Oh god. Is this another vegan conspiracy video? Hey, let me give you a disclaimer. I'm not completely vegan. I try my best to be at least vegetarian, but right now I'm living with family. There's a person in this family who cooks food often, and they don't believe in dropping meat or dairy. So I try to be conscious about it and approaching it as best as I can. But right now, let's really think about energy. There's a reason nobody wants to watch these vegan videos, these movies that show all these animals in pain. This is a culture of avoidance. When we look at our food, we only want to see it for its pleasure. We don't want to see the pain behind it. People either watch it and they're so hurt, they then never acknowledge that they ever did, or they watch it, they change for a little while, and then it's like, oh man, I don't know if I can keep this up. I have to keep rehearsing that pain in my mind to give up this delicious meat. Or there's people that just flat out deny it and they're like, no, this is fake. This is created. This was a movie. This is da 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 da. There's all these forms of avoidance. I'm actually gonna be creating a video soon about the avoidant attachment styles and their relationship to social change. So stay tuned for that. So if we really look into what these videos are showing us, they're showing us pain. They're showing us animal suffering, the suffering of living beings, which we can empathize with. We're all empathetic human beings. But sometimes our empathy forces us to avoid something because it hurts us way too much. Just want to pop in here and say, if you find this video interesting, remember to leave a like. If we can really become aware, become conscious of the pain behind it, and understand that pain shows us something that's wrong. It is a signal. Instead of numbing, instead of this culture of Tylenol, Advil, opioids, we can look at the pain of a situation. And so what is the signal? The signal is suffering. Plants understand our energy needs and they consent to being eaten as long as they are raised with love. We are in a cycle with plants. A cycle. We exchange CO2 for oxygen and they exchange our oxygen for their CO2. This divine prana flows through and between us. Other animals also share this love with plants. It's not just humans that have this exchange. Wild animals still have this other physical exchange where they take the seeds into their body when they're eating a plant and then they spread them through their manure as they're walking around on land. If we raise an animal with love, it's not the same when we want to eat them. Think of an animal that you love the most. Maybe it was your childhood pet. Maybe it's your, neighbor's bunny or your best friend's cat. Would you eat them? Seriously, think about this. Yes, plants feel pain, but it's not as much pain as animals feel when we kill them for our own consumption. Even when an animal is raised with love, it does not consent to being eaten. It knows that we both can get energy from plants. Since we acknowledge animals are capable of love, we must detach them from their consciousness to raise them for consumption. In other words, dehumanize them. That is not love. And the word dehumanize shows that humans believe themselves over nature, that only humans can be dehumanized and not other parts of nature. Vandana Shiva talks about this, where in order to have control over nature, patriarchy had to declare it as dead. This was to control it and dismiss any unethical acts towards it. We choose dark energy when we deny this. It means spreading more suffering to animals than is necessary, because after all, they are at the same level of energy needs as us. They are consumers. Back to the food energy pyramid, the most energy that we can consume is directly above plants. That is the most energy that we can take on from the sun. Plants are also the most nutrient dense, and it shows us the sun's immense love for our greatest well-being. The only direct way we have of eating the sun is absorbing its light through our skin, from which we can make our own vitamin D, vital to our mental health. Please consider that because of COVID, all these systems were shed a light upon. There was tons and tons of dairy milk getting tossed out into the sewer by dairy farmers because of the broken supply chain. And in meat packing factories, millions of animals were slaughtered and then just thrown out. COVID itself started within the pangolin animal in Chinese wild animal markets. And this was because of the demand of rich Chinese people who thought it was exotic or just amazing to eat wild animals. The conditions of this place were so bad that animal fluids were exchanged and diseases were exchanged between the wild animals, which eventually someone ate, and then it spread into this pandemic that we all know so well. I'll link 2 of these videos below in the description if you want to find out more about that. I also created a video here if you want to learn more about protecting yourself from COVID spiritually. So I want to leave you with this. Do you have to eat animals? Vandana Shiva says, eating is an ecological act. Eating is an ethical act. And eating is a political act. And I'm gonna link the rest of her TED Talk where this quote is from in the description as well. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching this whole video. Please remember to leave a like. Find me at Goddess Gaia on Instagram. Press the subscribe button and then the bell button for notifications. Leave a comment. What do you think about anything I said? Are you a vegetarian? Are you a vegan? Are you considering it? What else do you think about this energy pyramid? I respond to every comment, so I'll definitely get back to you. And sending you the utmost love. I hope you have a wonderful day or night, and see you next time.